Good morning, class 5. Today we are going to have a revision on the chapter Demosthenes. I will go through the entire summary of the story so that once again you can memorize the chapter properly. So, we had learned that Demosthenes was one of the very old orators of the world who used to move people with his speeches. Uh, we see at first it is of the story, the author says that if at first you do not succeed, try again. There are few people in this world who have followed this piece of advice and achieved goals which seemed impossible. Demosthenes was born with a severe speech problem, but it did not discourage him. He practiced hard and became one of the greatest orators of his time. So, Demosthenes was a person who had overcome all his difficulties and shortcomings to achieve what he wanted. His only goal was to become the one of the best orators of the world, and so he did it. This chapter shows some of his experiences, bitter experience, which helped him to become the one of the best orators later on in his life. In this chapter, we see Demosthenes fighting out all his outs and overcoming all his shortcomings to become one of the best orators of the world. In his childhood, he had to face a number of financial difficulties. After his father's death, his guardians and relatives took away all his money. He fought back and revived a low amount after defeating them in the court of law. So, from his childhood only, he had to face a lot of difficulties after his father's death. Though he came from a wealthy family, he did not have much money to support himself because his guardians or his relatives had taken away all the money, which he could only revive after a point of time after fighting in the court of law for a long period of time. We see him giving his first speech, which turned out to be a disastrous one. His second speech was a disaster too, but after his second speech, he was advised by Cyrus, who was a theatre actor, on how to give a proper speech. After speaking to Cyrus, Demosthenes realized that he should give his speech with full of emotions so that it is not boring and it is moving for the spectators. Finally, Demosthenes learned the correct way to give his speech publicly. So, after his discussion with Cyrus, who actually made him realize that when we are giving a public speech, we should not give it in a boring manner or in a stagnant manner. We should have full of emotions and we should use actions so that it moves people and people get inspired by the speeches of Demosthenes. Only after this event of his failure of his first and second speech, public speech, he could finally rise up to become a very good orator. And this lesson teaches us, every one of us, that we should not stop trying to succeed our goal. Until we succeed our goal, we should always keep trying. This was the major summary of the chapter. Children, if you have any further queries, you can always ask me in the Zoom class. Thank you.